call of the road stirs in their blood, a call they answer down 1,000 interstates and blacktops and dusty country roads, highways and byways that sail past in the raw sweep of wide open spaces. Women climb aboard and tear off, embracing the wild exhilaration of acceleration.
It's like when you first get your driver's license and you're driving the car. You know, remember like the year before you even got your driver's license, you'd sit in your mom's car and you'd act like it's yours and you'd walk around with the keys and you know what I mean? Like you'd do all those things because you couldn't wait to that day that you got to take it out. And remember getting on that freeway for the first time and you seriously didn't know if you were gonna wet yourself right there. And the bike is the same thing. It's just that you happen to be that much freer.
Our garage was just always filled with bikes, and I always thought that everyone else had bikes in their garage, and they always had to do a ballet around the bikes to get through the garage. My mom used to ride me to preschool on her motorcycle. She has a '69 Sportster. Just literally got born into a really cool lifestyle.
It's interesting when people find out that I ride a motorcycle, most people are like, oh, you have a Harley? I'm like, no. Or they think I have like a smaller bike. A lot of people are surprised to find out, like when I tell them the size of my engine, you know, they're like, oh, an 1100. Which I mean, it's just the bike that I happen to like. It wasn't like I needed that much power. Truthfully, I don't really feel like I confront a lot of stereotypes around it.
The first and probably the biggest one is that we're all lesbians. And I could see where that would probably potentially have been true moons ago, just because I think that a lot of my lesbian friends were riding long before a lot of heterosexual females were, because we were still on the back of our guys' bikes.
A lot of people think that because you're this wild biker that you somehow swing from the ceilings and have wild sex all night, which, okay, sometimes I do.
Second, I would say that we're all 300 pounds, and we're not. And then I would say that the third biggest one, and maybe they're all tied, is that we don't want men around us, or that we somehow are riding to the exclusion of men versus the inclusion of men, when that's so not true for me. Actually, it's my only way of meeting men to date anymore, is to just get out there and be riding with the guys.
I remember when I first started riding, it was very important to me to have long hair so that people knew that I was a woman on a bike. Because with all that motorcycle gear and the helmet and everything, unless you have a ponytail sticking out the back, there's not a whole lot to, and even then it could be a guy, but there's not a whole lot to say you're a woman. Because especially when I started riding, I don't even think they were making women's size and women's design motorcycle gear. So I was wearing men's stuff. So I looked like a guy on a bike. But if I had my ponytail sticking out the back, you know, I was a woman on a bike and I knew it. And I wanted everybody else to know it.
I'm just a woman that happens to ride. I'm just a rider. When I was on Mount Everest, it was just, I was the only girl. So you're that woman doing that thing. You're never just that person. And I really don't like to be separated because of my sex and because of my size or because of anything.
The key as a woman rider is to make sure you've been on many different motorcycles and find the match for you that works best. I've had a Suzuki Cruiser, I've had Harley Cruisers, I've had Ducati Monster, and that was an amazing bike, a sports bike. And then I've had two BMWs, F650 GSs. And after experiencing all those different variety of bikes, I realized that this is one that matches my personality best.
So my most recent bike, her name is Dirty Birdie, and she doesn't like to be washed, so she doesn't get washed. I bought her in 2010, and it's a Dyna. The Dyna fit my body, and I knew I liked it. There was a lot of planning that went into this bike because they're very expensive, and I know I'm gonna have it for a long time. She's got the body and the frame of everything that I wanted, and I know that she'll last me a really long time. And she does perform perfectly for me. She's got a great engine and nice size, and she's matte black. I specifically had everything matte black because I couldn't decide. It's almost like hair, is that she was going to tell me her story, and now I have her story. Now I have to find the pieces that will eventually become her over time. But right now she was just a canvas, and she's dirty. Very dirty. In fact, a guy pulled up alongside of me last week and he was like, "Oh, you ride a lot." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Your bike's really dirty, and there's a lot of people that want really polished, clean bikes." And I said, "That's how I like it." And he kind of looked at me and rode off, and I was like, "Okay, bye."
My dad's best friend Bill taught me how to ride, and I rode around on a little dirt bike. But before that, I was riding around on a three-wheeled motorcycle. It's called a Servi-car. So it was a 1950 Harley-Davidson Servi-car. It would only go about 45 miles an hour, so I couldn't keep up with everyone. We couldn't go on certain runs, so I was like, all right, I think it's time to get on two wheels. My first ride was up in Sturgis. My bike was disco party purple with bright yellow, like hot pink, and then we had a gas tank issue on it, so we had to put a different gas tank on it, and that was a red and white gas tank. So it looked like a hot mess, but I had so much fun riding around, and it felt exhilarating being by myself, you know, and being a big girl and having a big girl's bike, and knowing that it was mine too, you know, not someone else's.
Well, the first bike I had was a Suzuki GS 500. I mean, I really liked it. It was a great entry-level bike, but I just felt like a truck would drive by and I'd be all over the place. And one day we pulled over on the side of the road and a semi drove past us and my bike tipped over from the wind gust after the semi, and I thought, okay, I gotta try something different. So when I test rode that BMW, I just felt so solid on it. And it was a bigger bike for sure. I struggled with it initially, especially at slower speeds. But for long distances, which is what I primarily ride, it's just such a great ride.
Well, I think your very best ride can also be your worst ride. And it's, to me, life is just about the stories. So we always kind of have this running line within the group of, well, it's going to be a good story. So even if everything breaks down and goes wrong, you have a good story.
There's nothing I love more than traveling, and every place in the world that I've ever been, I want to go again, and every place that I haven't been is someplace I need to see, and I want to be everywhere. I want to see everything. I want to meet everybody. There's nothing I don't want to try while I'm here on this planet.